Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. I am the Irish guy and welcome to Premier League Game Week 7. Let's crack on with the predictions. Right, let's go. Man United versus Everton. Here's the question. What are you most scared of? Most of you will probably say the obvious ones like spiders or Reese Witherspoon's chin. Me, I'm terrified I might accidentally click on an internet video of James Corden cleaning out his belly button in the bath. I mean, honestly, that piece of footage, I'd happily rather watch a box set of human centipede with my mother than ever gaze upon that. Christ above, I would feel like ripping out my own eyes with a compass. But where was I? Oh yeah, for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his biggest fear is Everton. I know, a manager in charge of one of the biggest sporting institutions on planet Earth, saying that he's afraid of Everton. It's a bit like a modern day Viking like Alexander Usyk saying that he's got a phobia of butternut squash. It wouldn't make much sense, but I get it, because since winding up at Old Trafford in the winter of 2018, initially on an interim basis, which was basically Ed Woodward admitting that he was about as convinced by his CV as I am of the Kardashians' ability to read. I mean, come on, he's a former Cardiff and Molde coach, so applying to become the next boss of Manchester United, that's like interviewing for a position at MI5 off the back of 3 years working the night shift at Pizza Hut. But hey, he got the job, and since then there's been a 4-0 battering at Goodison Park, a game where he vowed afterwards there was going to be a clear out. Well, of the 11 players who started that match, he's only got rid of 2, and one of them was Lukaku. I mean, you really think he was the problem? I'm sorry, what? Your defense that day was about as solid as my bowel movements after 3 days eating nothing but paint. You had a midfield so lackluster, you'd swear they had their pre-match meal spiked with pig's laxatives, and the only ones you choose to sell are Chris Smalling and Lukaku? Just no. And there's been more bad memories. Mason Greenwood had to rescue a late 1-1 draw at home with Everton, and there was another 1-1 draw at Goodison Park, and just last February, there was a sloppy 3-3 draw at Old Trafford. And right now, not only does he need a win, but he needs a good convincing performance. A scrappy 1-0 win in the 96th minute via Harry Maguire's bum. I don't think that will go down well with Man United fans. I think you're in trouble. Aside from that 3-0 horrendous horror show against Aston Villa, Everton have looked refreshingly decent under Rafa Benitez. And yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is back and fit for the match, so I'm going to go for a scrappy 1-1 draw. Burnley versus Norwich. Burnley v Norwich. I can almost guarantee you this will be rock bottom last match of the day, where Gary Lineker will spend the 45 seconds of punditry devoted to this game desperately trying to stifle a yawn. Aussie, Burnley versus Norwich. I'd rather watch a YouTube video on how to collect fridge magnets. This is going to be an insufferably dull 2-0 win for Burnley. But Norwich fans, you've already accepted relegation, right? But 7 straight defeats, 0 points in October. I mean, the record low points total in the Premier League season was Derby County with 11, and even they had 4 points at this stage of the season. If Daniel Farke survives this weekend, then it's official. Either he secretly got photos of Delia Smith in the bath, or the Norwich board have utterly no ambition or incentive to improve. Honestly, Norwich are a club were happy to go up and then come back down. Is that fun? Going from one extreme to the other? Winning nearly every match in the season one year before losing nearly every match the next. Imagine those gullible Norwich fans on a 10-year season ticket plan. I mean, how would you advertise that? It's like getting a free City World card. Well, yeah, you get to watch a cinematic masterpiece like The Godfather Trilogy one Friday night, and then the next week you're sitting down with a tub of popcorn to watch 90 minutes of 2 pigs making love on the big screen. Honestly, Norwich sorted out. Chelsea versus Southampton. Here's a horrendous stat for Chelsea fans. You have not beaten Southampton in 730 days. And no, it gets worse. You haven't won a Premier League match against the Saints at Stamford Bridge since a scrappy 1-0 win in December 2017. You know, when you had Bakayoko in midfield and Victor Moses on the wing. I'm sorry, what? Good grief, you had Fabregas and Danny Drinkwater on the bench. That's how you know it was a while ago. Somehow, since Southampton were promoted from the Championship in 2012, they've only lost 3 Premier League games at Stamford Bridge. So I know what you're thinking. Southampton have a defence made of wet sausage pie. This will be easy, right? No, it won't. 3 home wins over the Saints in 2004 is pretty embarrassing. I've tipped Chelsea to win the league. I've tipped Southampton to get relegated. But here, it's going to be a frustrating, boring 0-0 draw, with Romelu Lukaku spending the afternoon resembling a hungover Emil Heskey. Honestly, Thomas Tuchel probably didn't even know who Valentino Livramento was before tossing the teenage right back out as if he was an empty pizza box. But here, we're going to see him give Marcos Alonso the worst afternoon of his life. Okay, second worst afternoon of his life. What? Leeds versus Watford. This is second season syndrome. I'm sorry, but it is. I know Marcelo Bielsa is a tactical genius, but still, you cannot argue with 0 wins and 3 points from 6 games. Sorry, but that is relegation 4. If his name was Paul Heckingbottom, you'd be screaming for the sack. I don't want to scare you, but when Leeds were relegated in 2004, as a broken shell of a club who barely had enough money for toilet paper in the canteen, honestly, some of the players were probably having to use their hands. After 6 games, they were 16th with 5 points and a win on the board. At the risk of sounding like a B-Tech version of Bane, but if you don't beat Watford this weekend, a club you've only beaten once in 11 years, then you have my permission to panic. Lads, Watford, they scored 22 goals against you in your last 7 meetings with the Hornets, and they're currently in much better form. With Patrick Bamford out, and the likes of Rafinha and Daniel James carrying niggling injuries, this is going to be a sloppy, chaotic performance from Leeds. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, with Junior Firpo putting in the worst performance of the weekend. Ozzy is going to look like a paralytic badger. Wolves versus Newcastle. Newcastle have to start winning, and they have to start winning now. But has anyone been impressed with Wolves under Bruno Lage? Every time I sit down to watch them, I can almost feel my eyes turning into sandpaper. They are so insufferably boring. It's like watching the Antiques Roadshow. No thanks. Good grace, they scored 3 goals in 6 matches. Does anyone think they aren't in a relegation battle? Newcastle haven't been as bad as their position says. Good grace, under Steve Bruce, they've actually tried to play decent football, and Alisson Maximin has most of the defenders in the league on wet toast for breakfast. Last week, they could have stuck 5 past Watford, but were let down by some of the worst finishing I've ever seen from an adult sports team. But this week, you know what? Considering Wolves right now are like a blunt fork, desperately pinning all their hopes on a man dragged straight out of hospital bed, good crisis, Wolverhampton's answer to Humpty Dumpty. I mean, I don't mean to disrespect Raul Jimenez. I love him. He's a marvellous footballer. Did I just say marvellous? Who am I, the goddamn queen? No, he's a class player, and I'm overjoyed to see him back on the pitch. But he's clearly not the same player. Listen, the last 4 meetings between these clubs has ended in a 1-1 draw. No, 5 of the last 6 times they've played has been a 1-1 draw. So the smart money would be on a 1-1 draw. No, I'm gonna go for a 2-0 Newcastle win. Honestly, if it's a 1-1 draw after that, I'll just go insane. Brighton versus Arsenal. Last week, Arsenal fans were finally happy. Really? Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scores in a glorious 3-1 North London derby win, and you thank him by climbing onto his car. Christ, well, what if he actually gets you into the top 4? What are you gonna do then? Smash all the windows in his house? Maybe steal his dog and wife? Listen, all the goodwill points that Mikel Arteta built up with the fans last week, they will be very quickly flushed down the toilet if you now go and lose to Brighton. I know Brighton are in the top 6, but I'm sorry, no. Arsenal are flying high, they finally look solid at the back, and a complete lack of European football seems to be helping them for once. Factor in the fact that probably have Neil Maupay's smug face hanging up on the fridge, then yeah, I think we're going to look at another pretty sensible 1-0 win for Arsenal. Crystal Palace versus Leicester. Is it time yet to call this horrendous start to Leicester's season? Ever since that last minute Community Shield win in August, they've utterly collapsed like the springs in Susan Boyle's couch. 2 wins in 6 Premier League games. Good Christ. They were an offside decision away from losing at home to Burnley. That's how bad things are. They're also stuffed to the foot of the Europa League group, having just lost a match out in Poland. Again, it's been a tough start to the season for Crystal Palace too, but they've actually battled hard for points, and I maintain I think Otto Edouard is going to be one of the signings of the season. With Leicester's team low on confidence, I have a feeling that the likes of Conor Gallagher and Wilfred Zaha are going to absolutely waltz through their defence. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Palace win. With Brendan Rodgers, you just know he's going to get rumoured for the sack. Tottenham versus Aston Villa. This is going to be a delicious game of football. I mean, we've just watched a demoralised Tottenham team playing a hideous brand of football who just got played off the park in the first half of the North London derby. Contrast that with the confident Aston Villa team who went to Old Trafford and won. Sorry lads, Nuno Espirito Santo is about to be tactically annihilated by Dean Smith. A front 3 of Leon Bailey, Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings. They're going to utterly turn the Spurs sandwich defence inside and out. It's going to be one of the most complete Villa performances of the season. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Villa win. Trust me, on Monday morning, the paper is going to be full of Nuno Santo getting the sack. West Ham versus Brentford. West Ham have not played Brentford since 1993. They've only met each other twice since 1954. How is that possible? I mean, here's the facts. This will be West Ham's 10th game of the season already. It's been a great season. They've only lost once. But I'm sorry, if you're just expecting to pile into the Olympic Stadium to watch your team smack newly promoted Brentford about like a plastic dog chew toy, then no. This Brentford team are brave, adventurous, potentially one of the most excited newly promoted championship teams of all time. I mean, provided they don't do what Norwich did 2 years ago after beating Man City and completely fall off after Halloween. The fact they're riding high after a 3-3 draw with Liverpool, that an England snub would probably have either Ivan Toney playing like a demon possessed. This is going to be a smash and grab 1-0 Brentford win. I can almost feel it in my nutsack. Liverpool versus Man City. Man City haven't won at Anfield when they have fans on the ground since 2003. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Sure, they smashed them 4-1 at Anfield last season. Yeah, it's a bit easier to put on a City masterclass when there's 4 stewards and a fat dinner lady sitting in the cup. I know City just played Chelsea off the park last week, but no. I'm sorry, Liverpool at Anfield is a scary proposition. Even for the likes of especially for the likes of Pep Guardiola and Man City. There isn't even a flicker of doubt in my mind. City are a brilliant team, yes, but good Christ. It was only 6 weeks ago they were getting beat off Tottenham. 2 weeks ago, they couldn't find the net against Southampton. This is going to be a hard-fought 2-0 Liverpool win. Mo Salah and Diogo Jota with the goal, while Jack Grealish will mostly stroll about looking like a Captain Jack Sparrow fresh out of rehab. Anyway, that's it. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think these predictions are utter shepherds? Let me know in the comment section below if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.